You are now in the Reality Capture Network. Presented by Nexus 3D Consulting.
Welcome to the Reality Capture Network. This is our first episode of the podcast, and we look forward to sharing more with you in the days to come. My name is Matthew Byrd, and I'm the president of Nexus 3D Consulting, as well as your host for this podcast. We also have Phil, who will be joining us in this episode. He helps run the camera, as well as do a lot of the production behind the scenes. So we're excited to just get in and talk a little bit about our plans, our vision, and get this thing rolling along with you guys, and we look forward to sharing it with you.
So I have to ask you, getting to this point, because I've felt this excitement and this energy as we've been working on this the past few weeks.
Yep.
But I can feel that is just the tip of the iceberg that you've been planning, you've been creating for a very long time and been working toward this moment. Tell me how it feels to be here today, sitting in this room and seeing it come to fruition.
It's interesting. I've definitely wanted to do this for a while. However, really my focus has been on our services to our clients actually performing work. And I've had this idea for quite some time of really pulling together the network to help provide better value to our clients because, one thing that we see across the industry is there's not a widespread knowledge of the different technologies available to use, of laser scanners and drones and aerial and handheld and VR, and people, a lot of clients out there don't know they exist. They don't know the benefits of them. They don't know the differences between the different types of technology. And even if they learn about, a new technology, they don't know where to find it. They don't know who provides it. They don't know if the person providing it is qualified. They don't know anything. So then, you try to integrate that into a project without having knowledge or education on it, and you pick the lowest bidder, or you reach out to the first person you can find on Google. And so really our goal is to start spreading that education to clients on all the technologies available, all the pros and cons, all the ROIs and benefits or concerns you might run into, really sharing that education. And through a podcast like this and through our videos, because of the network we have of hundreds of companies, we're going to start doing interviews and discussions with leaders in different industries that have hands-on experience with different technologies, specific to those industries. So, our network is big enough that we work with people from aerospace to crime scenes to architecture to mining, and they all have different challenges. And the technologies within reality capture and the greater geospatial industry, there are multiple applications to them. But by doing this and bringing in professionals from each industry, we can really start to narrow down on the benefits and how to apply those different technologies to each specific industry, where a lot of firms out there may be really specialized in laser scanning for architectural purposes, but they've never stepped foot in an oil and gas facility. Right. Or you might have a forensic reconstruction specialist who works on car accidents and bought a scanner but has no idea about architecture. Yet, as people start finding about this technology, they may reach out to the one person they find who doesn't specialize in their industry. So the idea of getting to really start spreading this knowledge across the professionals from each industry, from somebody who uses the actual hardware that should be applied to a job. I'm pretty excited to just start really bringing all this together in one spot.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. And hearing all these technologies that 3D image capture touches, they're all in their infancy and they're all incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
And yet, like you said, we know, the companies, the businesses that could benefit from it still don't even know how to ask the question. So yeah. I think this network is incredibly, potentially incredibly helpful for those people out there that have, I don't even know what this technology does. I don't know where to start even in, forming a question.
Yeah. Yep.
this will bring those questions out, and
Yeah.
then it will answer them at the same time.
Yep. And I think that it will really help because a lot of those companies that find themselves in that spot right now of not knowing the questions to ask, a lot of times they find the wrong person that they connect with to begin with. And maybe that person doesn't mean harm and is trying to figure out how to apply it or answer questions. But the fact that within this educational platform with podcasts and videos and interviews and review of hardware and software and use cases, it's really going to kind of eliminate a lot of the upfront Q&A that a lot of firms and individuals are going through, and kind of fast forward through that initial learning process to where they have a better understanding of what's available, how can it be applied, how should we approach. And the other thing we're going to do on this podcast is actually invite some of those clients. We're going to get firms that don't know anything about this technology. We're going to invite them in and do Q&A and talk through it, because then all the, one firm that steps up from the architectural industry that doesn't know, and we sit here and explain, now the other couple thousand that are watching are going to hear a lot of those, and that's going to help fast forward the architecture industry. That's going to help fast forward them understanding how can scanning be used, how can point clouds come into Revit, what's the benefit of doing scan to BIM or using the, we can get into all the terminology. Now you look at doing that for every industry, and we have thousands of followers on social media, and when we post content, we get tens and if not 50,000 views of a video. So by the time we start interviewing and talking through these very specific Q&A and hardware and software per industry, and we get one professional from each different type of industry over and over and over coming in, and we keep sharing that info, you're getting thousands and thousands and thousands of people per industry that are starting to watch and hear the Q&A and hear the benefits and hear the issues, and find out for the first time even that this technology exists and that they should be looking into using it, whether internally, whether using a service provider. Our goal here isn't to just get work ourselves. Our focus is to really just push the industry, whether they want to do it themselves or not. And if not, then we can help connect with local options.
The question that comes to my mind is, do you know of a business that couldn't benefit from this technology?
Most industries that deal with any type of construction do benefit from it. So it's kind of hard for me to think of industries that can't benefit from it. If you're talking about insurance, but then you go down that route and you're like, insurance can't benefit from laser scanning. Well, actually they can, because if you're talking about the fact that there's a flood and you're going to document the building and what happened, or a fire or a car accident, insurance companies are now interested in documenting those. So now laser scanning applies there. Then you think about the food industry, and then there's food processing facilities in the food industry, and they deal with replacing equipment. We often go scan within food manufacturing facilities or warehouses for distribution, or, all of those people deal with some type of renovation or design or construction or expansion. Anybody that does any type of construction really has some type of use case to benefit from within reality capture, whether it's a drone flying a roof to map it and design solar panels, or an overall site for site planning, or laser scanning exterior or interior of buildings, or oil and gas facilities, or forensic sites. There are thermal cameras. I mean, you can go in a million directions with just these different technologies and how they can be applied. So that's what's, one of the things that's going to be fun about this podcast is really getting those different experts in here to hear their pain points and how this technology helps, or the fact they didn't know this technology could help, or hearing from new hardware and software manufacturers on creative solutions that are coming out to solve specific pain points that maybe we didn't even know existed yet. We're excited because we do stay on the front end of the new technologies, and we have a lot of people out there that are looking forward to joining us on this podcast, sharing their information, letting us share it to our network, and like I said, push the industry forward.
With everything being so young, and usually during those times of, revolution in any kind of industry or technology, it seems like there are a hub of people, but they all specialize in very different things. And it feels like that's what's happening now. And it would be great to hear from those individuals. Yep. And, they've kind of picked their own specific disciplines, and they'll have something very different to share than the next guy.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's going to be very exciting because that is the case. And, there are service providers and people out there that utilize the same scanner, and some of them work in the same industries. But honestly, there is so much R&D and people figuring out new workflows and ways to use targeting and how to mix aerial with underground, and just so many different technologies that even getting service providers that have similar services, they'll all still have different perspectives or different industries they've found niches in on how to provide a different service, or, different use cases, or it's going to be exciting to see that on top of all the other experts from different industries coming and talking about their pain points and how this industry can help solve them.
I can't wait to see what we come up with.
Me too. We're excited to kick off this podcast. So thank you for tuning in to our kickoff. And again, remember to subscribe if you want to stay up to date on the upcoming episodes we're going to be having from different hardware, different software, different industry experts, again, across every industry, from forensics, oil and gas, food manufacturing. We've got general contractors, really anybody that you can think of. We're going to have somebody in here talking, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. If you are interested, go ahead and fill out the application to get involved, and we're going to start moving things forward.
Great. Thank you, Matt.
All right.
Nexus 3D, bringing the future to you.